She watched them burn her husband alive. They thought a grieving widow would submit. They were wrong. What Olga of Kiev did next would become one of the most brutal revenge campaigns in history, involving birds, a bathhouse, and thousands buried alive. This is the story of a woman who made an entire civilization regret underestimating her. Want more videos like this? Don't forget to subscribe, like and drop a review. History has given us many queens. Some ruled with wisdom, others with grace. And then, there was Olga. Olga of Kiev. Saint Olga. Equal to the apostles. Grandmother of Christianity in the Rus lands. Oh, and before all that? She was the most creatively vengeful woman in medieval history. This is her story. Our story begins not with revenge, but with love. Well, medieval political marriage love, but love nonetheless. Olga wasn't born into royalty. Some say she was a commoner, perhaps even a Viking shield maiden from Pskov. But Prince Igor of Kiev saw something in her. Intelligence. Strength. The kind of woman who could rule while he was out, well, doing prince things. And by prince things, we mean collecting tribute from neighboring tribes. It was the family business. Every year, Igor would ride out to the Drevlians, a Slavic tribe to the north, and they would pay their taxes like good little subjects. Simple. Routine. Boring, even. Until the year 945, when Igor made a decision that would change everything. When Olga received the news, she did not scream. She did not cry. She did not throw things or tear her clothes, as was the custom. She simply stood there, perfectly still, for what seemed like an eternity. And in that stillness, something changed. The loving wife was gone. The regent of Kiev was born. Olga's son, Sviatoslav, was just 3 years old. Too young to rule. Too young to avenge his father. But Olga? Olga was just right. Here's where it gets interesting. Because Prince Mal of the Drevlians had an idea. Sure, they'd just killed Igor. But Mal had always thought Olga was attractive. And she was now very recently single. Widow of a weak single. Dear Olga, they essentially said, we killed your husband. Whoops. But hear us out, why don't you marry our Prince Mal instead? Think about it, you keep your status, we get Kiev, everybody wins. The ambassadors were very pleased with this plan. They thought they were being clever. Olga told them she was honored by the proposal. She needed time to think. They should rest from their journey. She would give them an answer tomorrow, and oh, what an answer it would be. Olga spent that night planning her revenge. And she came up with something special. In the morning, Olga sent word, gentlemen, I am so impressed by your proposal that I want to honor you with the highest tribute Kiev can offer. Tomorrow, I will carry you to meet me in your boat. Yes, you heard that right. We will carry you in your boat through the streets of Kiev. It's a Rus tradition. Very prestigious. The ambassadors thought this was wonderful. Look at us, they thought, being carried like kings. They didn't know where they were going. They didn't see the pit. She asked them just one question, is this honor to your liking? 20 ambassadors. Buried alive. In their own boat. But Olga wasn't finished. She was just getting started. Meanwhile, back in Drevlian territory, Prince Mal was getting impatient. Where are my ambassadors? He wondered. They should be back by now with news of the wedding. So Olga, thoughtful woman that she was, sent him a message. Dear Mal, your proposal intrigues me, but I cannot marry you without proper ceremony. Send me your most distinguished men, your wisest advisors, your finest nobles. I must be escorted to you with all the honor befitting a future princess of the Drevlians. Mal was thrilled. He sent his absolute best people, his top advisors, his wealthiest boyars, his smartest counselors. These were the kings and queens of Drevlian society. Olga greeted them like honored guests. She was all smiles and hospitality. Please, she said, you must be exhausted from your journey. Before we discuss anything, you should refresh yourselves. We have prepared our finest bathhouse for you. It's a Rus tradition. We always offer our most important guests a proper bath before important meetings. The Drevlians thought this was wonderful. These Rus really know how to treat distinguished guests, they thought as they settled into the warm water. And they were right, Olga did know how to treat her distinguished guests. Olga burned them alive, all of them, the wisest advisors of the Drevlian people, the finest nobles, the most distinguished men. They wanted a hot bath. She gave them one they'd never forget. Now you might think Mal would be suspicious at this point. 2 diplomatic missions sent to Kiev. Neither returned. But Mal was not a clever man. So when Olga sent him another message, he believed it. Dear Mal, I am coming to you. But first, as is proper, I must hold a funeral feast for my late husband at his burial mound near your territory. It would honor Igor's memory if your people came to commemorate him. Bring your warriors, bring your people. Let us mourn together before beginning our new life. I will bring the best mead Kiev can offer. The promise of free mead sealed the deal. Never underestimate the power of free alcohol in political decision-making. Igor's burial mound stood in Drevlian territory, a reminder of their crime. The Drevlians came by the thousands. Free mead and a feast. Olga's people served the drinks generously. Very generously. The Drevlians drank. And drank. They drank until 5,000 of them were passed out cold. Which was exactly what Olga had been waiting for. And then, under the stars, Olga gave the order. 5,000 Drevlians died that night. They came for a feast. They never left. 3 revenges. 3 massacres. But Olga still wasn't satisfied. The Drevlians' leadership was destroyed, their warriors decimated. But their city still stood. Prince Mal still breathed. For Olga, that was unacceptable. In 946, Olga marched on Iskorostan, the Drevlian capital, with the full army of Kiev. The Drevlians who remained saw her coming and did the only sensible thing. They locked their gates and prayed. The Drevlians expected a brutal assault. Battering rams, siege towers, ladders, the usual medieval unpleasantness. But Olga's army just waited. Days turned into weeks. The Drevlians grew more confused and desperate. What is she waiting for? They wondered. Finally, the Drevlians sent a messenger with a desperate offer. Princess Olga, we know we wronged you. We know we deserve punishment. We'll pay any tribute you ask. Honey, furs, gold, name your price. Just please, call off the siege. Olga thought about it. She looked at her army, then at the city, then back at the messenger. And she said something that made the messenger very happy. I don't want your gold nor your honey, that I just want a simple tribute. From each house, bring me 3 pigeons and 3 sparrows. The Drevlians couldn't believe their luck. Birds. Just birds. She must be showing mercy, they thought. Birds are easy. We have so many birds. What they didn't realize was that Olga was thinking very carefully about those birds. Specifically, where those birds would go when released. That night, while the Drevlians celebrated their narrow escape with a feast, they really loved their feasts. Olga's soldiers worked by torchlight. To each bird, they attached a small piece of cloth soaked in sulfur. Then they waited for dark. Now, here's what Olga knew about birds. Specifically, these birds. They were homing birds. Pigeons and sparrows from Iskorostan. And when you release homing birds, they fly back to their nests. Back to the eaves of houses. Back to the barns. Back to the rooftops. Back home. 3 birds per house. Each house in Iskorostan. Each bird carried fire home. Iskorostan burned. The entire city. The wooden walls, the houses, the palaces, the temples, everything. Those who escaped the flames were captured. Some were enslaved. Some were executed. Some were allowed to live but would pay heavy tribute forever. Prince Mal died in the fire. Olga made sure of it. Igor's death was avenged. Completely. Thoroughly. Creatively. And Olga, covered in ash and vindication, returned to Kiev. After her revenge, something unexpected happened. Olga put down her sword and picked up a quill. For the next 20 years, she governed Kiev with the same intelligence and determination she'd shown in warfare. She created the first structured tax system in the Rus lands, established trading posts, reformed governance, and strengthened Kiev's position as a regional power. The woman who burned a city became its greatest administrator. The regions that had paid tribute in fear now did so because the system was fair and reliable. Olga proved what everyone would later forget and have to relearn, that the best rulers are the ones you don't want to cross. In 957, Olga traveled to Constantinople, capital of the Byzantine Empire. There, she met Emperor Constantine VII and experienced the grandeur of Orthodox Christianity. Whether it was genuine spiritual revelation or sharp political calculation, probably both, Olga converted. She took the baptismal name Elena. She tried to convert her son Sviatoslav to Christianity. He refused. He was a warrior, like his father, and had no interest in a religion that preached turning the other cheek. "Mother," he essentially said, "I've seen what you do to people who wrong you. This whole peace and forgiveness thing seems like a new development." He had a point. Olga died in 969, about 24 years after she'd burned Iskorostan to the ground. She died peacefully, in her bed, surrounded by family. Which, considering her life, was almost disappointingly uneventful. But here's where her story gets really interesting. Olga's grandson, Vladimir, remembered her teachings. In 988, he converted to Christianity and brought the entire Rus people with him. Christianity spread across Eastern Europe, creating a religious and cultural identity that lasts to this day. And the church looked back at Olga and decided, you know what? She brought Christianity to the Rus. She was a wise ruler. Sure, she killed a few thousand people in creatively horrifying ways, but that was personal. Let's make her a saint. And so they did. Saint Olga. Equal to the apostles. Patron saint of widows and converts. Grandmother of Christianity in Russia. Commemorated on July 11th, canonized by the church she helped to establish in the land she once filled with fire. History, it seems, has a sense of humor. The woman who perfected vengeance became a symbol of mercy. The princess who burned a city became the founder of a church. And perhaps that's the real lesson of Olga of Kiev, that people are complicated. They can be terrible and magnificent. Cruel and wise. Vengeful and holy.